Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You've reached the Boho Info Show. And today we are continuing some interesting new information with the Miami situation. Um, I found some very interesting details on some certain things here within the past 12 hours, things that people are not talking about still or yet. Anyway, with my show, you guys know that I always give you my 2 cents worth or my opinion or whatever. That goes with any shows that I ever done where I've given my opinion on things. Also, do your own research. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. Throw it over your shoulder for good luck, but do your own research. We will be providing links in this show on the subject that we'll be talking about. And also, we make no claims on anything, medically or otherwise. Okay. Also, too, anybody that makes comments or phone calls to me of any sort, I don't, it's on them. We just discuss things. So today we're going to be talking about the Miami collapse building there. And right now, as I've updated, I don't know, it hasn't updated this morning, but as of last night, from what I'm hearing, it has 9 confirmed, and then still 159 underneath the rubble, which I think is kind of interesting that it's increasing for some reason underneath the rubble. Maybe because the other part of it, they can't find them living, maybe. But I came across something very interesting, and I hope you guys share this with other people out there as well. Um, so we're going to get into it, and I found some interesting stuff, and I will be taking any questions or comments. You can put that in the comment area when you follow me. The questions and comments, you put that all in the comment area. And then, we're going to go over everything on what I have found that was kind of interesting within the past 12 hours. So I want you to go ahead and check this out. Of course, this is from Fox News, but I want you to listen to the interview on this, if you can hear it. In about an hour, rescue teams worked tirelessly overnight in Surfside, Florida, searching for survivors more than 48 hours after the deadly condo collapse. Loving wife and mother Judy is among the 159 people who are still missing, and her family is praying for a miracle. Judy's husband, Kevin Spiegel, and her children, Joshua and Rachel, join me now. I have to first. So I want to stop there. Their last name is Spiegel, I guess. Judy, which is the mother, is underneath the rubble. Okay. And I looked at the timeline of what was going on with this particular case or, person here. The father was not home. He was out on business, which is the guy on your left in the screen right here that I'm pointing to. This is her son and her daughter. Now, I want you to listen to the content about what is being said. My heart is broken. Everyone here on the set and across the country are praying for a miracle for you. Let me just start by asking you, what kind of updates have you heard so far?
We actually haven't heard any updates. We're at the scene pretty much all day, watching workers try to peel off pieces of the building. But the problem is there's a lot of smoke. They're also hosing down the area, and every second that ticks by, it looks getting worse and worse. It's unimaginable, and we're hoping for the best, but we just want. Now, I want to stop here a minute, because if you look at the left frame here, the one that I'm pointing to, or the right frame, I'm sorry, there's smoke rising in there as of yesterday or Friday. Now, when we saw other pictures from the news people,
I didn't see smoke rising. Did you?
To find our mother and to get to her as soon as possible because we know that time is of the essence.
Yeah, Rachel, I saw your interview yesterday with Martha McCallum, and I guess my question to you is, I mean, it must feel so surreal that you're on television talking about this, talking about your loved one in danger. How are you holding up, all of you?
We're not doing well. I don't think anybody's doing well under these circumstances. Um, we are just holding on to hope. We know that it takes strength. We're on the scene, so we know, we see the smoke in the air. So, we still want a positive outcome, but we know the time is of the essence.
Right. And we're a healthcare family. Rachel is a hospital administrator here.
Now I want you to stop there. Did you hear what he said? They come from a healthcare family. Now, I tell you guys to bring a notepad and piece of paper to write down key notes, key words. That's one of them. Okay? Part of a healthcare family. And then Judy, which is the one underneath the rubble. I'm going to play that one back so you can hear it in the content.
We're healthcare.
Oh, come on. Anyway, Judy was
Your family.
here.
Rachel is a hospital administrator here in Miami. Josh is a senior resident in surgery here in Orlando, and I'm a healthcare executive in California. This is kind of horrific.
See, so their whole family, except for the daughter, is involved with the healthcare field. I think that's very interesting after the scenario and situations dealing with a CV.
My other son, he was a firefighter, and now he's an X-ray tech in North Carolina. We're a healthcare family. We're always there serving our communities where we live, and for this to happen to us, it's really a shocker.
Can you tell us a little bit about Judy?
Now pay attention to this part and make your notes.
Absolutely. My mom means the world to me, and she is my everything. I've talked to her multiple times every single day. The last 3 days of not being able to talk to her has literally been killing me. And she was the type of person that would drop everything, no matter if she was in super important meeting with whoever. She would drop everything to take our phone calls. Every single time that we saw each other, just big hugs and kisses. She literally did everything for us, and we're here to do everything to get her back to us.
Yeah, Rachel,
She was
yesterday. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
that's okay. She was a philanthropist.
Did you hear that? She was a philanthropist. Now, look into Bill Gates and George Soros. They also are, amongst other politicians. I want you to write the philanthropist on your piece of paper, and I want you to circle it because it's going to be one of the targets of what we're going to be talking about.
She helped raise money for the Erlanger Children's Hospital.
See, she raised money for the Erlanger Hospital, which is a healthcare system also as well.
In Chattanooga, she created the arts program in Chattanooga. She raised money in New York at the Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital and helped get.
Do you hear this? A lot of children type of programs. Okay.
It started. She's an unbelievable giving person to the communities, and she volunteered everywhere, always helping and giving things. I have a 89-year-old mother, and it's really Judy who always took care of her.
Yeah, Rachel, you talked about that yesterday, that, during the pandemic, it was your mom who really stepped up for your daughter during all those times. She sounds like an amazing wife, friend, philanthropist, mom, grandma.
Yeah, I mean, everybody that knows my family knows my kids. Everybody knows my mom. Like I talk about my mom all the time. Everybody that's at our school, everybody knows my mom. This situation is so devastating. She didn't deserve this. We don't deserve this. Obviously we have a lot of questions that we'll never get answers to, but she is the most incredible and giving person.
Well, you all sound like an amazing family, and I hope you know that we're all praying for you, and we're all praying for that miracle to happen, and we're also encouraged by the bravery.
So I'm going to stop there. So you got some keywords on that, right? So now we're going to follow up. We're going to look at Judy and what she was involved with, being that she's a philanthropist. She also, when I looked into her background on just surface information, involved with several foundations. Being that you're a philanthropist, it's kind of like joining the Freemasons. It's like a global society, a global foundation where other philanthropists in the world come together, have meetings, have group stuff happening, and fundraisers, and do that together. Okay, so I want you to hear everything for what this is worth, because there's a lot on her I'm gonna reveal that you might find interesting. Okay, I'm checking to make sure you guys can see me and hear me. Yeah, okay, good. And again, if you have questions or comments you want to talk amongst yourselves, you can use the chat room on that. Okay. But here is the Erlanger health system. Okay, not only is it a hospital, but that's a health system. If you remember way back, last year when I did a show on this that I have in my archives, I had to pull off because of storage here and other things. I did a segment here in Florida on Rick Scott, where he was part of the Columbia Health System when he had his problems with suspicion of corruption and all that, right? You guys can research that. But here's the other thing of it. I want you to also look at, because I haven't really researched to see if he's a philanthropist, but you guys can check that. I don't know. But on this here, she's part of the Erlanger health system, but so is her husband, Judy's husband, also. They're like executives, okay? But she happened to be on a hospital level. He's more on the actual health system level. You understand what I'm saying? So I wanted you to see this. You guys can check it out. I will have links for it and all that. But I want you to see how things connect, so that when you go down that rabbit hole, or you do the reverse money trail, or you do a background on things, you find out to see who they're associated with, or who they talk to, or what's going on with all that. And I'll show you more on how to deal with all that, because this is a screw up, I think, where this information got out via the news network, okay? Figuring that people aren't smart enough to figure out, to get their money trails and stuff, and how it connects the whole enchilada, meaning the whole vault of other people that are connected to the plan with this. Okay. This one here was on, I believe, a local thing, and I want you to hear this one as well.
Continuing coverage tonight on the deadly beachfront condo collapse in Florida. Troops are currently working through the debris.
Now I want you to put down keywords. Okay, keywords. If I stop and start it, interrupt it, it's because I want you to get that word written down on paper.
People possibly stuck beneath the rubble. We're able to make some rescues this afternoon. Here's what we know so far. It happened around 2 a.m. in the city of Surfside, that's north of Miami. Nearly 100 people remain missing. Only one person is confirmed confirmed dead.
Now, this is an older film.
Literally called a search and rescue operation.
See, and they're still calling it a search and rescue operation. I think they're trying to cover their tracks.
Who's planning to work through the night? There are at least 2 local connections to this tragedy. A Ringgold family was on vacation, staying right next door. They witnessed the immediate aftermath. And the woman who is among the 99 people still missing is a former Chattanooga resident. Our Mary Always has more from both ends.
Greg, it's been a life-altering day for those who witnessed the collapse, who lost a loved one, or are still waiting to find out who was able to survive. Judy Spiegel, the wife of the former Erlanger CEO.
See, what I don't get, and I'm going to stop there when you write down their names and stuff, is why are they in the spotlight when we had people from Portugal and Argentina, or I think it was, right in there that I told you that had the political connection? You see what I'm saying? Is this like one of their things where they're trying to get one of those subliminal messages out saying, okay, this is a warning to the elite. This is a warning to the philanthropist group. This is the warning to Silicon Valley that this is going to happen to you if you don't come clean. You know what I'm saying? So they have to use like a test dummy. And, you know, I'm not saying that they're dummies, but I'm just saying, you know, a test situation for them to get their message out, you know, because this little sewage war that we're having between both sides of our political system, this is how they kind of do it. You know what I'm saying?
The Spiegel is among the missing. The Spiegels live at the Champlain Towers South condo that partially collapsed. Kevin Spiegel says he was working in California when he received an emergency notice in the middle of the night.
Now, you heard that, right? The husband was working in California. Now, yes, even though he's an executive of the other Erlanger healthcare system thing, right? Who's to say, since they're philanthropists, that he wasn't really talking to who? Silicon Valley, Bill Gates, or Facebook, or whoever, right? They haven't come out and saying that they haven't yet. What do you think? You know what I'm saying?
He immediately flew back to Miami and is there with his children.
Now you're going to say, well, why would he go and talk to those people? Well, I'll get to that later in the
We
show.
have a lot of hope that Judy is still alive and still there.
Son Josh came in from Orlando.
My mom is an absolutely amazing person. She's
Now, one thing I want to make very clear that a lot of people here in Florida does not realize, no one, not even no one on YouTube is even talking about it, or any social media or any other site that you're able to talk about events, are talking about how these philanthropy groups have penetrated Florida. Okay. Not only are they in like maybe our healthcare system and foundations and projects and all that stuff, but they're even on a local level. I found some really interesting stuff towards the end of the show on that, and I'll get to that. But I want those to be aware of it, that if you're living in Florida, they're already in here in Florida right now. Now, those that are not living in Florida and they're living in some other state, you need to check out if you have a bunch of philanthropy groups in your state. Because these philanthropy groups are also, even though they say, hey, you know, we do good, we do fundraising, and, you know, we, you know, set up foundations and trusts and projects, and we do, you know, we do donations, and we, you know, help the community and all this stuff. This is a kind of like what I want to say, like a tax haven, okay, where they're getting richer, okay, but at the same time, they're using all this stuff the same way like a 301c, but they call it like a 305 or a I don't know, 401 or something like that. And these are other alternative types of nonprofit status organizations. By doing so, they can be not only tax havens, but they can also be money laundering operations. Okay. And I'm saying could be possibility on all that. Okay. At the same time, people don't realize that their philanthropy groups have a socialist kind of agenda. Okay. And they're also connected to some of the Jewish bad traditional stuff. Okay. I'll just kind of be careful with that one there. So, yeah. And you just need to research in your own state how, and if you have it in your town or state and where they're located. Because if you guys remember a year ago, we had BLM in the streets and they were doing rioting and all this stuff. That's on a poor man's level. Okay. But when you get philanthropy groups that go into the same kind of combat mode, they don't call it rioting, but they call it, the hierarchical of rioting, where they can do things to not only their other members, but they can do things to get bills passed and create havens for themselves and cause problems for the people that are underneath them. So they're like aggravators, aggressors, agitators, etc., and so on. Okay. It's an interesting subject if you guys want to really research stuff on that. Find out what the bad side of it is, because a lot of this stuff that they show on philanthropy groups are just a front. Okay. You have to look at the bad side and then see the connections. Okay. Anyway, let's continue.
She's a fighter, and she fights for every single one of us, and we won't.
There was this loud boom, like it's like two different booms.
Okay, so this is an eyewitness thing. So listen after this interview.
Ringgold resident Daniel Groves grew up in Chattanooga. He's on vacation in Surfside with his family and was so close he was jolted awake by the collapse.
There was
Now listen to this eyewitness report.
this loud boom, like it's like two different booms, loud. I mean, just like my wife and I literally jumped out of bed. I ran over to the window, and it was this dust cloud like I've never seen before. I thought it was a cloud. I was like, oh my goodness, we are in a tornado right now. Like, that is what this is. Everything's hitting the windows.
Groves says the fire alarm started going off, so he grabbed his kids and evacuated the building. He says if the structure had fallen any farther.
Now I want you to rehear what he said on that. Really be very careful listening.
Everything's hitting the windows.
Hang on, let me go to the beginning.
Never seen before. I thought it was a but I literally just
Awake by the collapse.
there was this loud boom, like it's like two different booms.
See? So he said there was two different booms. Okay? That could have been a detonation situation. Just put that in the back of your head.
Loud. I mean, just like my wife and I literally jumped out of the bed. I ran over to the window, and it was this dust cloud like I've never seen before. I thought it was a cloud. I was like, oh my goodness, we are in a tornado right now. That is what this is. Everything's hitting the windows.
Groves says the fire alarm started going off, so he grabbed his kids and evacuated the building. He says if the structure had fallen any farther toward his hotel, it likely would have caused it to collapse too.
And then we would not be here having this conversation right now. So just a really surreal thing.
Groves says his family was taken to a location a few blocks away, where the collapse survivors are waiting for loved ones.
Just pray for the family. I mean, I know, the people inside that building, it looked bad. And even on TV, it doesn't look as bad as it does in person. Like, I'm really, like, I went down there when it was daylight. I walked down the beach before anybody was actually out until the sun came up. It looks terrible.
Groves says after witnessing this devastation, he doesn't know if he'll ever stay in a high-rise building again.
That building was beautiful. It looked phenomenal. Why don't we just rent houses from here on out?
So he did witness 2 big kaboom sounds, I guess, before the building went down. So to me, again, that's confirming my last 2 shows, the possibility and basically directing in that direction of a detonational situation. Okay. Yeah. So let's continue. Now, getting back to Judy. I found this, and you guys need some links, right? Okay, I'll start giving you guys some links. Here's your first set of links. I'll put that in here. Is it going in? Yep, there's your first 3 sets of links on stuff. And this is what I found that was connected to Judy, which was a Southern California grant makers. Now, maybe, the husband, since he said he made a trip to California, maybe he was part of this grant maker situation. I don't know. But this one ran underneath Judy when I did a background connection on it. And basically, this also connects with Mrs. Carolyn Cross of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Now, think about this and the connections to that with the South border. Remember about a year ago, I said, hey, they were housing all these illegals. They were doing it through California. They're bringing in California lawyers. And it was Planetary Groups back then and all that stuff that were finding the money to get these lawyers to the South border to represent the illegals and to house them, to get them food, shelter, and medicine, and so on and so forth. Okay? Well, if you look into the Planetary Groups, this is what they do. Okay? They connect everything. Planetary Groups connect, they call the community support situation, quote unquote. But they're really helping the immigrants in the world, the illegals in the world. And this is an example, prime example of how it connects California. Okay. And it says here, this is from the 2017 HUD Youth Homeless Demonstration Program and NOFA grant application situation. But what was interesting is that the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development is connected to this. So our government is connected to the Planetary Groups, okay, which is aiding and abetting these illegals by helping them with assistance on homelessness and food, water, shelter, and all that kind of stuff, okay? Because here's the proof in front of your face, and I will give you some more links on this as well. But this was actually out of Washington, D.C. And it says here, on behalf of Southern California grant makers, they write strong support for Los Angeles Continuum Care, LACOC, HUD Youth Homeless Program, and a 2017 grant application. Also the Homeless Services Authority as well in the Los Angeles area. So they're basically saying that they are establishing youth specific housing and support services through increased local funding and coordinating with critical stakeholders groups. So this might be the actual tie to the human trafficking situation of all those kids coming across the border. Are you following me so far? This might be the actual proof of connecting this. Okay. So yeah, and then Mrs. Carolyn Cross out of Washington, D.C., this letter was given to, you know what I'm saying? Because it has her name and everything right here. All this, I can't do it in blue, but you can see the name in front of you, I think. I'll move it up. And this was dated March 28, 2019. Now, isn't it funny how I find things, right? And isn't it funny that all of a sudden, you know, we're coming out with this information, right? after a building collapse, which looks similar to a demolition or, another situation from Colorado, right? And it isn't interesting how much politicians were in that building. I mean, what do you think so far? Isn't it interesting that, now this is connected to everything? Okay. So she was part of the, I guess, area of grant support, and maybe she gave donations to it. But it says right down here that the Southern California Philanthropy Group community, whatever you want to call it, champion effect the philanthropy and advance collaboration efforts to create a meaningful change for our communities. See, that is their motive. Okay. We bring together more than 300 organizations with a diverse cross-section of Southern California philanthropic leaders, private community and family foundations, corporate funders, high net worth individuals who collectively give more than $4 billion annually in support of the communities in California and around the world. See, so this shows the proof of the connection of the philanthropy groups in the world, the connection to California, because California is where? On the border, right, to Mexico, right? And a year ago or a year and a half ago, when I checked out the south border situation, again, they were involved with it with support of all the illegals coming across the border with legal fees or legal representations, food, water, shelter, medicine, housing, all that kind of thing, right? And so here you go, is the evidence in front of your face that they provided this kind of help through their philanthropy kind of group situation, right? So I thought that was kind of interesting to bring to you. And I know you guys want some more links, so I'm going to give you some more links. Bear with me here. Hang on, I got to get it for you guys. And you guys can put comments in the thing and questions in the thing, and we'll answer them as I can get to. Okay. Here's your next set of stuff there. So okay, so there is the philanthropy group stuff, right? Okay, but now we got to look at foundations, because Judy and her husband were involved with different types of foundations. So was the Gates family. So was many other families like Facebook and so on and so forth. They're all involved with different stuff, right? Well, philanthropy groups are also involved with the different types of Jewish legacy kind of groups. And whether they're good ones or bad ones, it's something that you got to check out and see, right? But this was one of them that also came by her name when I kind of researched the connections with whatever she's doing with her philanthropy groups, okay? And it was this one here called the Jewish Community Foundation of Minneapolis Jewish Federation. Now remember, if this is a philanthropy group, it's in Minnesota, for those that are living in Minnesota. If you remember way back when, BLM had a riot in Minnesota, right? Now think about where BLM and the other grassroots organizations had riots in anywhere of any states in the United States, okay? And write those on paper. Then find out what states they were, and then in those states, look at if they had philanthropy groups in those states, because they probably funded them to create those riots. Just like we've had past reports and maybe some of the stuff on my program showing that these things were funded, right? But you also got to put in a factor, who is in philanthropy groups? Is it Gates? Is it Soros? Is it, the Facebook owner there, Zucky, or who, So they're funding the disruption. This shows proof without the money trail of the connections that they're connected to, which are what? Basically in trouble for the Nuremberg Code thing, right? Okay. So I'm just saying, put the perspective. You can connect the money trails and it gets even better. And I'll show you in a minute. So anyway, this is a Jewish federation. They do financial and estate planning. They also give to nonprofit organizations. They deal with stuff in the community level. Same pretty much structure of everything else. But here's where it gets good. You guys want to see money trails? This is how you find money trails. Okay. You first research all of the people. Remember I said in each of the interviews, get their names, write them down on a piece of paper. Whenever you see things on your TV and they're interviewing someone from a major disaster like this one, okay, or something else happens in crisis, okay, get names, okay, write them down on paper. Then research their name like a background check on the web, which is what I'm showing you guys, okay. Then what you do is then go and see if they're belonging to some kind of foundation, a project, a nonprofit thing, or a trust. Usually there's 4 or 5 different areas, and they'll have at least one. Out of the one, like this one here I'm about to show you, and no, I'm really shocked that no other YouTuber or any other thing on earth right now on the internet is showing stuff the way how to do it. But this is how you find the money trail. Okay, you ready? Here is a complete donor list just from this one organization, which is this one here, the Legacy Society, right? Here is names in alphabetical order, okay, and who they are. Here is where you find other philanthropists. Here's one here. It says Daniel and Phyllis Hillicher Family Philanthropic Fund. See, they'll have either funds, foundations, projects, trusts, or nonprofits. 5 groups that these people work in to shift their money flow. 5 groups. 5 groups that also hides money from IRS, which means they don't pay taxes on, because they're listing them as nonprofit. Now, here's my thing. Compare these nonprofits to, like, let's say you're giving something to Goodwill. Back in the day, okay, about over 10 years ago, back in the day, if you donated something to Goodwill, you can use it off your taxes, right? Well, the next following year or so, you weren't able to do it unless you donated a big sum like $30,000. And they had very critical curriculum to follow of how much your goods were that you were donating to Goodwill that you had to follow to accumulate and add up over the year, right? And then after that, if you had 30,000, then it would be taken off your taxes. But in the meantime, it wouldn't count. So with that $29,99,000, okay, that nonprofit is profiting off your donations without you, as a tax-paying citizen, getting any kind of benefit to help you with your taxes. The same thing goes with Salvation Army, Homeless Coalition probably, or anybody else like that here in Florida or other states that might have it. Okay. Now think about that, of how these nonprofits are being used as basically, I want to say, in my opinion, tax havens. Okay. Legal tax havens. I think what the GOP, if the GOP is listening to me right now, or Republicans or whoever you are, you need to restructure the nonprofit status so that not only they benefit, but the persons that are donating to the company or to the project or to the foundation or to the nonprofit status of whatever it may be is also going to benefit. Why should it be a one-sided situation, first of all? Second of all, make them pay, the nonprofits pay taxes just as much as the person that's giving them something. Because here's the thing, Most people are buying goods out of some kind of retail that they're used up and don't want no more. And they've already paid sales tax on it. And now they're giving it to the nonprofit, and then they're not paying no taxes on that. That's not right. Right? But anyway, it's heavy stuff to think about, but it's something you got to really think about, because we're getting into the deeper part of that rabbit hole where you have to put under the microscope anyone involved with these 5 different kinds of groups. And the shifting of funds, whether it's money laundering, whether it's not paying taxes and they're getting richer, or if they're, using the excuse, hey, we're using it on our executive offices, and that's how they get paid legally, right? So yeah, it's a real interesting scenario unfolding here. So anyway, in this whole list, which I'll be giving you another link to, which should be in the other sets of stuff that I'm going to give you, you can look at each one of these names and do a background on all of them to see what politician they're connected to see what country they might be involved with, and to see if they were also maybe donators to a political party, whether it's Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party, whatever it might be, or even in the foreign country of the same thing. Because this, in the perspective, is actually motivating and creating bills and laws that are being passed by the money. Right? But there's a lot of ones that are listing funds. A lot of funds. And then, here, let's see. I'm going to show you something here also, if I can find it. Okay, it's not in this one. Maybe it's in another one. But there's also Jewish connections in here with a lot of it, right? Like here, Linda Barrows, the Lion of Judah Endowment. Let's see here. We've got one here. Yanni Israeliason Genesis Mitzvah Fund. That's Jewish. Let's see what else. And I'm not saying there's nothing against anybody that's Jewish. I'm not picking on you guys, okay? What I'm just saying is, though, if, there's a connection to this rubble from the Miami situation here, we have to look at this, because this could be where they're trying to get rid of a lot of political connections or financial connections of corruption. And a lot of those people that might be in the rubble might be a lot of those people that were involved with the money trail situation or the political trail situation. You see what I'm saying? You following me so far? But anyway, yeah, I will, the links are in there. And then the other one also too, that I found that was kind of interesting was this guy here. Remember how they said there was a Chattanooga connection, or, where it was from? This was interesting because this connected to Judy, because he's also a philanthropist. Okay. So he was a business and civic leader in Chattanooga. Okay. His name's Gordon Street. Okay. And what I wanted to show you is what he was involved in. Okay. Because when you study these philanthropies people, okay, you got to know everything of connections to know where the corruption starts, ends, where it's connected to, and how it's basically corrupting our United States system. Okay. So here is where he was involved with, see, they're saying he's a philanthropy right here. Whoops, not that right here. Right, that paragraph. He was a part of philanthropy group that was also local but national. So he is not only in the United States, the big one, but the little one that was in his local town, I guess. But he's also part of the National Parks Foundation. He's also part of Baylor School, St. Andrews Seaweed, Episcopal Church, Neighborhood House and Barnes Erlanger Foundation. So here's that hospital name right there. Okay. So the hospital had a foundation now. Okay. And then Gordon Street Foundation and Tennessee Camp for Diabetic Children. So again, a children connection. Okay. A children connection. So again, the philanthropy groups are the ones, from what I'm seeing so far, that is connected to children and different types of groups and fundings. Minors under the age of 18, 19, whatever. So think about that with the South Border crap. Okay. And that's why maybe Biden and Harris don't want to go down there, because they're part of the philanthropy groups. I haven't checked that out. Maybe somebody can. Maybe they're not. I don't know. But, it's something that you got to, look at. If someone is not going to face up to the responsibility of problems, that tells me they're hiding stuff. And is this part of their hiding? Maybe. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But I mean, everything's smelling in that direction, right? But here's the other thing. People don't realize, and the news never covers it. I've not found any thing on YouTube or any other social media covering it, or anything, even in blogs yet, covering it. But Miami and Florida have different types of philanthropy groups. This one here is called the Miami Foundation. That is a philanthropy group. And it was really interesting that this one's actually located in Miami, which is kind of telling me it's connected, without me kind of looking yet on the connections to this Miami collapse situation. Because again, you've got to look at how many high profile people might be living in that area. What are their connections? Is it political from this land, another land? Is it a money thing? Do they have a lot of money? Where's their connections on money and the reversal of it? And what kind of business did they do? Did they do shady business? Did they do good business, bad business? What kind of business did they do? Is it foundational? Is it always a, nonprofit? If it's a nonprofit, I always flag it. Because they're just basically, what it is. You got to flag it. You know what I'm saying? And then you research and you find out, yeah, it's got some situations going on there. But anyway, yeah, this one is a current one right now in Florida. And they deal with many grants and stuff like that for different things. But here is where they're running the same parallel as a philanthropy group. Access to health and care and wellness, economic stability, inclusion people with diverse abilities, sustainable environment, which is like your green stuff, thriving youth and families, but more it's for the youth. Again, they're interacting with people under the age of 18. Okay. So yeah, and I will give you that so you can kind of examine it on your own. Here's the other connection people don't realize, and this is just on the East Coast. That Miami one deals with Miami and on the East Coast. There's another one on the West Coast of Florida, and it's called this. Okay. This is also a philanthropy group. See right here. Here's your philanthropy, right? Okay. So this one is in Southwest Florida. And it deals like from Naples on up type thing, all the way past Tampa. So yeah. And if you ever wonder how people might vote in different counties, like in the state of Florida, different counties, how they vote, usually a Democratic county will be full of philanthropists. Okay. Always follow that too. Always, always, always. And then if there's something going wrong with, let's say, during their check in the box situation when they go to, vote or whatever, then in that county, they've been flagged because there's philanthropist groups there and people of high status. And so what you can follow the immediate money trail for the corruption. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's like so spot on. It's crazy. It really is. Now, another thing, yesterday, if you guys didn't see my program yesterday, which is connected to the one prior to the other one, the big ones that are over an hour, they gave a keyword in yesterday show and another interview of something called, I gotta find it again because I written it down. Give me a minute. Okay. Something where the word recall vector came up. And I'm like, recall vector. I'm like thinking of that movie, Recall, Total Recall, Recall Vector, It's the only time I've ever heard of that, it was that movie Recall, Total Recall. And I'm like, very interesting. Is that like a verbal, symbolism code type thing, to whoever that this is, been planned and, or this is what's going to happen, type thing. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go research that word called recall vector just to see what was going on. So when I came up to it and did generalized search, because the internet has everything, and to me that's all freedom of information, even if you reuse it. Okay, was this that came up, which was kind of interesting, right? And I'm like, okay, so this particular site came up, and I'm like, very interesting, because in this circle they have the yellow brick road going to Oz. They have the yellow brick road going to Oz. That's a symbolism. Okay. Stay the course. Don't steer off course, kind of thing, from the big T man. And then if you do, stay with it, your reward will be the city of Oz. You see what I'm saying? But also, too, you can look at other videos in YouTube and put in the T-Man and Wizard of Oz, and you'll see a video come up with him talking as the wizard. Right? I'm just saying, this is getting good. Okay? So this tells me, just in my opinion, that this is a confirmation that the T-Man is cleaning the sewer. And this Miami collapse situation is part of cleaning the sewer. Right? But also at the same time, it also can be, since we know that there's Planetary Group individuals or members involved with the collapse of the Miami building, a warning shot to Silicon Valley, like all the social media companies, including Microsoft and all them, maybe, but I'm going to say probably more towards the social media companies, right? And the same thing with other individuals that are involved with other Planetary Groups, right? I don't know. What do you think? Let me go in there. We'll continue in a minute, but I want to get some questions answered here. So let's go to the beginning of my questions. Let's see. Everybody's saying hi. Yep. Okay. Okay. Grant, you hate Rick Scott? Yeah. Well, you know what? If you really hate him, you're gonna really hate when you find more stuff on him if you reverse that money trail. So have at it. You'll be really enticed on what you find there. Okay. It'd be very interesting, in fact. Let's see, Grant, but he busted a lot of pill mills in Florida. That's true, and the reason why he did that is because he wasn't making a profit off the pharmaceutical companies. I'll put it that way. Yeah, it's a grant thing, but here's the thing: there's stipulations on the grant. It's not like a school grant kind of thing. These are like high-profile grants. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's true. On that grant. Okay. So anyway, yeah. Okay. So we're going to get back to the story. So let me go back to here, and we're going to put this in. I'll show you something. I mean, is this an actual maybe project that's called this besides what actually already came up coded, right? Let's see. We're doing this live real time so you can see maybe too. And nothing might not come up. I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. So yeah. Let's close some of this other out here. Okay. Well, it don't look like it's, well, maybe we'll do it. Okay, hang on. So let's close some of these windows out because I think I'm straining a little bit. Oh, and you guys need the other thing, don't you? Okay, hang on. I'll give it to you guys. I'll give it to you. Hang on. I got it. Let me give it to you. Here is the foundation stuff on the links on that, and some of the other part with the legacy all the way over to the Gulf Coast thing, and the other thing there with the Pinterest and all that. So that's why I tell you guys to bring a tablet and a piece of paper, because that stuff scrolling on the bottom of your page is all the links that I'm providing for you guys on that too. And if you miss anything, you can, when I get this show posted in Twitter, you guys can, or YouTube, you can always replay my shows later too. Okay. So anyway, let's go back to this one here, the recall vector thing. Okay. And what I found that was kind of interesting on this, and I can see why the father, Judy's husband, went to California. I'm going to show you. This is like a full circle confirmation almost. I'll show you why. Let me bring it up if I can find it here. Because here's the thing, all the internet has massive knowledge, and you're just picking a tenth of their brains, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so give me a minute here. Hang on, I gotta rewrite this. And Victor, hang on. Okay. So we're going to look up this word. I already gave you guys a thing on the Wizard of Oz and all that, right? Okay. So now we're going to look up other things. So here is, sometimes you have to scan symbolisms on pages, right? And so all these things are like in Pinterest is to me like symbolisms, and you got to scan it. And remember, here's the movie like Total Recall there, right? Yeah, but what I wanted to show you, if I can find it, if it's in this one, I'll have to not do this one. Give me a minute here. Okay, here. Oops. You're seeing me do live research, by the way. So there's your thing on Pinterest. Look that one up. You can see the circle on that with the Wizard of Oz if you want to look at that one. Up to you. Okay. Now, this is interesting that this particular gun came up. It's a preview of a Chris 9mm CRB Victor Vector recoil, right? Symbolisms? Yeah, probably. Okay. Just put that in the back of your mind. You guys look up. I'm not going to look up. You can look it up and see what it does. I don't know. I'm not promoting it. I'm not promoting violence. Okay. That's on you. Looks like it's military grade anyway. And then what was the other thing? Let's look up. And you're seeing how I look for things, right? And you got to look at symbolisms, you got to look at coding, you got to look at numbers, you have to crunch numbers, everything else. Okay, here you go. Here's one right here to your, let's see, left, right here, Project Vector. And look at what they got there. Italy. What's Italy? Remember a while back? They went over there secretly to go get supposedly hard drives around the coronavirus situation, right? But also the Vatican's there. They're also part of what? NATO, right? Think about things. Think about all three of those. Write all those down on paper, right? All right. So that's another situation. And then see how it can look in a search engine for other things. So vector project ideas, we can check into that one, which is not what I was looking for, but what I saw earlier dealt with something totally different. Give me a minute here. I'll have to go back. Let's cross that out too. And we'll go here and there. How many people are still with me here? Good. Okay. So we're going to look at this part here too, because this was what was interesting, because if you look at the address of the building of where this collapse happened, right? I'm going to show you something very interesting here. Okay. Hopefully, if it does it right. Okay, give me a minute here. Let me reload it. Anyway, well, it's not. I'm having computer problems. It must be the sun messing with things, or we got a storm nearby. I had a little thing on a storm situation here. But anyway, if you put into Pinterest, go to Pinterest and in the search engine, put in there recall vector and then put in 8777. See what pops up. Then after that, pull off the recall and put in just vector 8777. There's some very interesting stuff happening with that. Now, maybe I can do it in this one here. Let's check it. There you go. Are you seeing it? Right here. This is the first thing on coding. It's like picking the AI's brain and little farts happen. And this is one of those hiccups, right? So here it is, called uracil DNA glycolysis, I guess. Let's see how they say it. I think that's how they say it. I won't play. But anyway,
uracil DNA glycosylase.
There you go. That's what it is.
Uracil DNA glycosylase.
Okay. So that's what it is, right? And it's you can read it here. It's in Wikipedia. That's the very first thing that came up under that coding, which I think is really ironic and interesting, because if you follow gematria code, okay, it's like this has a whole nother level of coding beyond the geometry code. Okay. It's like a next level up thing. And AI couldn't stop pulling this, so here it is in front of your face. You can see it for the first time. And same thing with me. But yeah, when you have an incident, you have to take down numbers. And that was the address 877, right? And then you put in certain keywords. So those people who are following like the Da Vinci Code, it's kind of like pulling words out like that, right? And then, so this word recall vector, nothing came up, but we put in vector 877, that's what came up, right? Now, I wanted to show you something else that was connected to that. If I can show you here, let me see here. There's all kinds of coding for different types of things that are registered with the vector situation. And it comes to 877. If you pull the page up like this, you'll have a full page of different codings for different things, of different whatevers they're working on and stuff, right? So this is where it's going to get a little bit more. Let's just check this one a minute and see what comes up. Anything else come up? Let's see. Oh, it's loading. Hang on. I guess I went too fast. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so if you put in recall vector 877, this is what comes up, right? It says, let's see, the very first thing that pops up is just UN blocked everyone from the past 5 years because, and this happened 14 hours ago. It says Uncle Sam's hat, missing paint, pencils, markers, recall vector. So let's go into that. Because remember, when you dive into different formulas of coding or different symbolisms or different numerical coding kind of thing, they have like veils, many veils that you got to go through, So this is very interesting. There's a lot here. Let me do this one first. This is 14 hours ago that it was posted supposedly in YouTube. And you've got to look at it as, and I know a lot of our 3-letter agencies don't even reach this far down the rabbit hole on possibilities because they'll just say, oh, well, we don't have the confirmation, so we're not going to research it. We're not going to, detect it or whatever, So, yeah.
Oh, man. I just unblocked it. Over the past 5 years.
See, so is this a code in an actual computer software program? Now you can go into YouTube and here you go. We're going to just go down the rabbit hole on him. Let's just stop his stuff a minute. I want to check something. And you guys are seeing this live. This is actually posted as of yesterday. This is interesting. Oh, I'm getting good. Let's see. Okay, so there is a YouTube channel called Recall Vector. So it is connected to the Pinterest situation. And I've seen this type of symbolism somewhere else.
You don't strongly consider that an unimaginable number of parallel reality streams with different consistent histories exist, and different versions of ourselves exist within them. And that something is glitching the fuck out of you. And I think you're pretty intolerant. And many of you know when my older brother from New York visited a couple of years back here in LA, we were playing basketball. And when he saw me take a jump shot, he freaked the fuck out and said, "When did you learn how to shoot right-handed?" He knew me as a lefty, and my high school buddy has a strong recall that the two of us flew a kite every day at school on the girls' lacrosse field for a week or two, and that never happened. And I've got a strong recall that he had the Don posters all over his walls in his room, but he never did. And my girlfriend, there's too much to talk about on this video. I knew different versions of all of them, and they obviously knew different versions of me. Many of you knew this recall vector spelled with K's instead of C's. We call Victor vector recall. Maybe some of you watching this right now, you're a different version of me that didn't cuss on every video. And you're like, why the fuck does he keep saying fuck? Yeah, maybe a clean enough version of me. Nothing would surprise me. Some of you know me.
Oh, check this out. You're seeing this live for the first time.
With Devil, Knievel recall, EVEL, and saw a video where I was freaking out that he changed to evil EVIL, but not me. He was always EVIL for me. And now, Gerald Turner is telling me that Led Zeppelin flip-flopped for him. Been following you for the last 2 years since I got the Emmy. This is a flip-flop for me. I remember in my main reality time stream. Wow, I'm not sure what that means. I remember in my main reality time stream, Vector, that you did a video about a year ago covering how it once was Zeppelin, Zeppelin, but now Zeppelin, Zeppelin. The majority of those blocked are most certainly IZDs and gaslighters that I want nothing to do with.
Wow, this seems like another confirmation of either a cloning program, a secret one. Wow.
I may have blocked different versions of subs, and these different versions, I want nothing to do with it. But the possibility that the other versions could flip-flop back is real. And so, I have blocked everyone.
Wow. Wow. Let's check something out, guys. You're seeing this for the first time. This is amazing. All right, so here is his main page. There you go. And that's, I wonder if he's part of the Planetary group. Let's see. So it might be possible. He's had it up there since 2016. So this was 4 years before the T-Man ran, which is a 4-year thing where they were already planning problems for the T-Man. Very interesting. Let's go back here. Wow. Oh, here we go. Yep. See, he's even confirming it. I wonder. What? Let's check this one out. This is under him. Let's see what he says. It's 18 seconds.
This video is on another platform. The link is down below.
Oh. Okay. Okay. I think I already shown you guys that one. So he's connected to it. Interesting. Which is interesting because the name of this was connected to Judy that is now underneath the rubble. Wow. All right, I'm going to have to do some research. I got to get off here because I want to see something else, and I need time to do more research. If I come on, I'll come on a little bit later on today. But yeah, wow. All right, let's see, last comments real quick before I go. Let me see if anybody's got anything. Oh, and yeah, you guys can follow the Pinterest thing. You can find out, yeah. Okay, but Grant, it's not recall vector 877. It has 3 sevens in it. You also have to look at my previous show, either the last big show that was over an hour or the one before it that was over an hour. It explains, or there's a little one there, I think, what was it yesterday? A little one talking about what 3 sevens mean according to Freemasons. Grant, you need to check into that, and there's other symbolism coding things going on with that. All right, I'm going to go for now, guys. I got to go. I got to research this. This is getting really interesting now and intense. I'm going to try to come back later tonight with a UFO program with this and more of this information on the mystery part of this part of the situation of Miami. And we'll talk more about this and discuss it and all this stuff later tonight. So tell your friends, everybody else, to come back on later tonight. Watch for it. I'm going to post this on Twitter. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed so you can get notified. Otherwise, watch Twitter and follow me for all the links, just in case something happens to my Tuberland thing, okay? Gotta go. See you next time. See you tonight. Okay, bye.